I know about my wife's affair and I'm okay with it. I was on my lunch break and went for a drive a few years back. I drove past my home and saw that my garage door was open, as well as my wife's car and another vehicle. I parked across the street and entered via the garage, which is in our basement, effectively beneath our split-level house's bedrooms. I could hear the bed in our spare bedroom above me vibrating in noises that were unmistakably Zek's the second I walked into the garage. I stood there somewhat in shock at what I was hearing, but I wasn't enraged or anything. I snuck up the stairs and softly opened the door to the home. From the top of the stairs, I could see down the corridor and the shadows abducting on the wall outside the first bedroom, not my bedroom, down the hallway. Lots of moaning and foul stuff from her, and I crept back down the stairs, into the garage out to my vehicle, and reversed it to a side street, where they left about 15 minutes later. They just strolled out into full daylight. Our marriage, on the other hand, is ducking wonderful. Like, completely accurate and awesome. We have sex practically every night and are utterly smitten. We have 3 children together, and life is great. Over the last several years, I've periodically driven by the home in the middle of the day, and the vehicle is there about 2-3 times a month, and I'm well aware of what's going on, and I'm sorta happy with it. Oh, and I also know who the man is. I had a cop acquaintance run the plate for me, and it's one of her college lovers. He's also a married man. For the time being, my idea is that if she finds out I know, I'll simply tell her I'm cool with it, since our marriage is almost perfect. I'm cool with it if this is what she has to do to make the marriage flawless, and I won't create any trouble for her FWB. What are your thoughts? Is anybody else in a similar situation? Is it possible that I'm a complete freak? Update. What an amazing variety of talks I've had today. I'm thankful to everyone who commented on this circumstance. I want to reread the whole article today and tomorrow, but any more thoughts would be very appreciated. I was perplexed by the tell her BS, don't tell her tally. I wasn't anticipating such an equal split, but I'm not sure what I was expecting. You have no clue how grateful I am to each and every one of you who took the time to offer their opinions on this. I'm leaning toward informing her, but only gradually, and there will be a significant leading with love component if I go that way. I've been touched profoundly all day by the rushing waves of how much I love her and how much I enjoy our life together. She's great, and I wake up glad every day to be with her, even though I've known she was up to this for the previous 2 years. Even knowing what I know, my immense thankfulness at waking up next to her has never wavered. Of course, I welcome continuous feedback and will consider future postings if this goes in a certain path. Update. I awoke at 4 a.m., so I may as well write this. For me, the past month or 2 has been a frenzy. First and foremost, thank you from the bottom of my heart for the flood of encouraging words I got from this sub. There were several excellent bits of advice. I wasn't sure whether I'd ever tell her when I wrote the piece, but a sequence of circumstances in recent weeks have persuaded me that I wrote it in part because I was ready to speak to her about it, but didn't know how until the right opportunity came into my lap last week, and I've informed her. I found myself obsessed over hints to their schedule in the weeks after my post. They got together a couple of times on either a Tuesday or a Thursday, always in my place, and for just around 30-40 minutes. Every time she texted me late in the morning, "Hey, how's your day?" to make sure I was still at work. Every time, I rushed to my vehicle and drove up a side street to get a better look at my home. I'd walk over to the home after witnessing them go inside and hear the telltale noises from the guest bedroom. I once slipped into the home after they'd left to discover the washing machine running and the guest bedroom made with a new sheet. Later that day, I took one of my children to a dancing class, returned home, and discovered that the sheet had been restored in the hall closet. I was also keeping an eye on her phone use. She's anti-phone during family time, but I caught her using her phone between sets when she wait lips in our basement on Sunday evenings. This habit of mine was weighing on me. I didn't like my voyeuristic tendencies. But on Thursday, a seemingly predestined chain of circumstances unfolded for a now or never chance for me to act. I received the SMS at 10:30 a.m. I dashed to my vehicle and arrived at my residence at 10:45. They usually come at 11:00 a.m. My wife gets to work at 6:30 a.m., so she has an early-ish lunch. He came at 11:00, but she didn't arrive until 11:05. They entered into the garage as usual, left it open as normal too. I'll keep this quick, but I walked inside the home and almost got caught. However, they were later than usual and seemed to leave in a hurry, and upon re-entering the home after they left, she noticed she hadn't changed the sheets on the spare bedroom bed or begun the washing. The sheet, a pair of underwear, a pair of Scrubs lab trousers, and a shirt were all in the wash. I started the washing machine, sat down, drank coffee, transferred the clothing to the dryer half an hour later, and then went back to work, almost as if I had no control over the situation. I took one of my kids to their dancing lesson that day, returned home about 6:30 p.m., and was greeted by a distressed wife. She grabbed my arms, looked at me, shook her head, and said, "Did anything happen today?" "Yes, I love you. Everything is good. We will speak about it all a lot. I love you. It's all right. I promise it's okay," I murmured, looking her in the eyes. I kissed her, and we played in the bathroom for a few minutes before I cooked dinner, and we assisted the kids with schoolwork, bedtime, and so on as usual. We got down to business after the kids went to bed and spoke for nearly 5 hours Thursday night. It all began when she asked me, "How much do you know?" I told her a lot of things, but not everything, and that I wasn't furious at all. She said she had spent every waking second from the time she arrived home and saw the laundry until the time I stepped in, virtually convinced I would declare I was divorcing her. That was not going to happen, I told her. Of course, she was shaken. She revealed everything right immediately, clearly distraught, but I calmed her down and we had a terrific talk. We decided that we'd probably need a weekend away, and my mother-in-law volunteered to keep the kids for the whole weekend, which is ideal since the kids basically go there and eat Papa John's and Snickers ice cream bars for 2 days, so that love it. So here's the gist of what I discovered. A test's been going on since 2005, 5 years before I met her. They dated in 1996 and had a bad relationship, but they had a fantastic sex. They reunited after he'd been married for 3-4 years and started cheating on her. He was married, but she was a single AP. She assured me she'd be happy doing it for years, and she was. She dated other people casually up with him, became a doctor, completed her residency, traveled, and had a fantastic life. I confused her equation when she met me 10 years ago because of how deeply she fell in love with me. She gave me her whole self, but she stayed with him due to a magic spell she couldn't break, relating their sexual chemistry. My children are all mine. I never had any doubts about that, and they never had PIV intercourse when we were attempting to conceive. He and his wife have a beautiful marriage, Zex, and my wife is not going to save him from a dead bedroom. His wife is unaware. Their connection consists mostly of hello, how are things going? How's it going? How are the kids? Duck me now. All right, see you later. It's not a really emotional experience. She repeatedly said that if they were going to have a true relationship, they would have done so long before she and I met. Obviously, I know a lot more than that list, but you get the point. We also had sex maybe 10 times this weekend while the kids were away. I made it obvious that I was okay with it if she and he continued. I love her. She's had this thing going for far longer than I've been married to her. It makes her happy, and I love it when she's happy. She was, of course, taken aback. I also informed her she was free not to tell him I knew or to tell him I knew, and that the decision to tell him or not was entirely in her hands. She thought about it for a day and then decided to inform him. I told her that if she wanted to tell him, she could bring him over this past Sunday morning. I would go for a long run. They could chat, I would go pick up the kids, and he would be gone when I returned. That's exactly what occurred. When I returned home with the kids late in the morning, she saw them and sobbed. The youngsters went to put away their toys to play. My wife is one. A weightlifter is very powerful. We do Muay Thai holds in bed all the time law. She could kick the out of me in less than 2 seconds. She, on the other hand, seized my head on both sides of my face with both hands, and the tears simply spilled from both of us at the same time. It's just flowing. She stared me in the eyes and said, "You must pay attention to what I say. I will never abandon you. I adore you, and you are well aware of this." Ducking, on the other hand, wailed like a baby. So she told me about their talk. She began the talk by encouraging him to relax and that everything was great, but she thought it was important to inform him that I knew everything and had known for a long time. Okay, he said. She informed him that he had the choice of continuing the talk, but that if he felt he couldn't trust her at the end, she would stop it with him. Okay, he said. So she told him what I knew. It was a couple of hours of talking. She checked in with him on Sunday afternoon, and he claimed he was okay. He stated he trusted me because if I had a hostile motive against him, his life as he knew it would have ended a long time ago. He also sent her a message to tell me that he trusts me and hopes that I would trust him as well, knowing in my heart that he is not after what I have. He will never take my wife away from me. So he stated he trusts me and wanted me to do the same. I told him he had a deal. She's been really communicative with me, as she usually is, but on a whole other level. She's been telling me for the last several days that she feels lighter. She has often shown her devotion for me in recent days. She is struggling since this is all so new to her, but I have been dealing with it for years. She's astonished at how well I'm doing. I assured her that I was all right since we were together, and I knew she was in this with me. She confirmed that she is, and now we're up to date. View. Update 2. Please do not remove your remarks. I need to go back and reread this. 3. Update tonight. She's in a wonderfully good mood. Cooking supper, enjoying wine, and conversing. I've had a rough day in here, and she's like, la-di-da. It's cute, and she's fantastic. And 4th update. I've spent 17 of the past 24 hours gloom perusing this Reddit. I'm going to put my phone away for a while and think about things.